This is the plaintiff, Kay. She says she hired the defendant to reorganize her 70th birthday bash, but she unfortunately came down with COVID and canceled on her. Luckily, she found someone else on short notice, and her party turned out to be a huge success. The defendant, however, refuses to return her money, and no one's going to take advantage of her, so she's suing her for the $4,450 she's owed. This is the defendant, Carrie Woods. She says she coordinated everything for the plaintiff's party and worked on it for 6 months. She fell ill with COVID about 10 days before the event, and that's when the woman's aggressive daughter started to berate her. Luckily, she got better before the party, but the plaintiff refused to allow her to attend and chose to hire someone else instead. Bottom line, the plaintiff canceled on her, and she's not giving a refund. She's accused of pooping out on a party. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $250 for defamation because the plaintiff's going around calling her a thief and a liar.
All parties, please raise your right hand. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Leonson presiding. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Litigants have been sworn.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Kay, you are suing Ms. Woods and her business for $4,450 that you want back on party planning that you didn't get the benefit of. You have a counterclaim against her for $250 for defamation of character. Let's start with you, Ms. Kay. What's going on here?
Well, good morning, Judge. I met the defendant through a mutual person, and my daughter hired her to do my granddaughter's 18th and trunk party.
18th and what?
Trunk. She was going to college and celebrating her birthday, 18 and trunk.
Okay.
And the reason why I wanted to use her is because I wanted a shimmer wall. I had never seen one, and I wanted a shimmer wall for my party.
And your party was going to be a 70th birthday party?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were planning it for how long?
I had been planning it for a while.
Okay.
For a good while.
Yeah.
Before I, because I plan in my head before I actually execute.
Right.
So I had been planning it for a good while, at least a year or so.
Okay, now you hire her to be the event planner for your party, and your party's supposed to take place when?
October the 1st.
Okay. So what happens?
Well, everything was going fine. We were corresponding via text. There was never a signed contract. So everything was
That's
done.
a bad idea, but okay.
Yeah, it was done through text. And,
okay, well, that's better than not having text, but go on.
So everything was going fine. So Sunday evening, the 25th, now my party was the 1st of October. I received a text from Kari, and she...
So this is the Sunday before the Saturday party?
Exactly, the Sunday before the Saturday party. And she was informing me that she had contracted COVID, and she went through this whole diatribe about her husband. Empathy, nothing but empathy.
When you say whole diatribe about her husband, your husband passed away from COVID 18 months ago. That's not a diatribe. That's letting you know something horrible.
Yes,
okay.
and I agree with that, but I had empathy for her. I understood.
She feels like maybe you didn't because it was all about you and your 70th when she told you.
And it was all about her. I had to move on, Judge. She moved on. Hence, new husband. She moved on. I had to move on, too. My time was shorter than hers. So,
because you're older?
And plus, that's a plus. Yes, ma'am. As far as my planning.
All right, in any event, I understand that you're concerned with what you're concerned with, she's concerned with what she's concerned with.
Exactly.
So the bottom line is she calls you or texts you and says that she's sick?
She texts me.
And she says, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to feel better. I'm in the hospital, she actually tells you, right? Were you actually in the hospital?
No.
Okay, did you say you were in the hospital?
No, I advised her that I was at home, but I was going to go to the hospital because my symptoms
I thought the email said you were in the hospital.
It did.
No, I told her that I had to go to the hospital.
That's not what the email says. It says you're in the hospital. Was it an email or a text where she said
text.
That?
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, on Sunday before the Saturday of the party, good evening. I have to say that this message will not make you or I happy. I am at the hospital, and I have contracted COVID. I've been doing events and came into contact with someone who had it, but I don't know who. Several of us are not feeling well. I received the news not long ago after being tested, and I feel very bad physically, a lot of issues with my breathing. I'm trying to give you notice and ask that you make provisions for another decorator, and I would have to give you a refund of monies paid. Now, she wasn't just a decorator, though. Wasn't she getting your cake and your...
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I'm very apologetic for this inconvenience of time and planning, but this is beyond my control health-wise, and no, I appreciate you choosing us, but we were unable to provide the services. I would have called and did try to call, but I'm getting oxygen right now to help me breathe comfortably. If I am released today... You didn't say I'm going to go to the hospital. You told her something which was untruthful, which was that you were at the hospital.
No, I had to go to the hospital in order to be tested for the COVID. I have asthma, so I was getting a breathing treatment. That's why I didn't physically call her.
But why are you saying if I'm released today and I am in the hospital if you just told me that you weren't in the hospital?
No, I wasn't in that. Well, when the statement was, I wasn't, like, I didn't stay. I went to the hospital. I was told I had COVID. I got a breathing treatment. I was texting her from the hospital. Once I knew what was going on with me, I was just letting her know.
So here's the thing. Obviously, your health is the more paramount issue here. But in this text, you have done not only nothing wrong, but everything right. You're telling her, I'm telling you as soon as I can. Mm-hmm. I feel horrible, and I'll refund all your money.
Yes.
Like, this was, you couldn't have been more professional.
Yes, ma'am.
This is the response you get. Sorry to hear that. ×2. I guess I'm really sorry to hear. As you know, even though it's out of your control, I'm in a real bind. Since you're prepared for Saturday, can you get everything to me? Tiffany is looking to see if someone can put it all together so I won't have to cancel, which is also a reasonable response because the party's 6 days away, so she's assuming you were responsible for DJ.
She asked me to find her a DJ. She met her DJ. We paid the DJ.
Who's we paid the DJ?
She met her DJ at her daughter's granddaughter's party that I did for her. So she knew who her DJ was going to be.
That's not my question.
Plaintiff hired the defendant to organize her 70th birthday bash, but the woman canceled on her, and she wants her money returned. The defendant says she worked for 6 months in the plaintiff's party, but when she got COVID, she couldn't make it to the party, but still deserves to be paid. Let's listen.
Who has the contract with the DJ? Does she have a contract with the DJ?
Do.
You're the one with the contract.
Yes, ma'am.
That is a bad way to do this.
Okay.
Because you're now that means that you are putting yourself between the DJ and the client, and when the client has to sue somebody for DJ money, they're suing you. They can't sue the DJ. Their contract's not with the DJ.
It's with me.
Right. So I understand doing that if you're taking a cut and you don't want anybody to know you're taking a cut or whatever, you have some arrangement with the DJ. But if there's nothing in it for you, don't do that at all. And even if there's something in it for you, think it over whether it's worth it.
Yes.
All right. Because otherwise you're responsible for everybody. What else were you responsible for her party? The cake? The DJ? What else?
I contacted a vendor for the cake. I contacted a vendor for the photography. And I contacted a vendor for the DJ.
So you contracted for all of those?
Correct.
Right. So when she says, just give me, what you've done, and we'll hire somebody to do it from here, why don't you just do that?
Because the items that she was asking for me to get for her, our shimmer wall was, what I charged her was $2,231.45, which included the DJ, the photographer, the treats, plus the services we were going to do. Our throne chair alone is a $1,200 throne chair.
I don't understand a word you're saying, because here's my only question. I get that you're sick and you can't coordinate. Mm-hmm. If you don't have in place in your business a second person who can coordinate, then fine, she's willing to get another person to coordinate. All she's asking for is what she's already paid for, which is the DJ, the information on the DJ, the information on the cake, that's what she's asking for.
Right.
So if you're sick, that sounds like a very reasonable thing, because then you won't have to return all the money. Then you'll have to return only the part that deals with your labor. So, and you'll work it all out when you're better. Right. But, your position was, I'm going to return all your money. And she's like, wait, you've got it all planned. Just give me the info. Why isn't your next text, whenever you're able to text, which is the next day, why isn't it, here's a photographer's contact, here's the or have somebody else do that?
I was under the impression when she was saying, can you give me the stuff? I was under the impression, if you look further in the messages, I was saying that those items that we had purchased, which is like all of the stuff that she needed, that was over maybe $13,000, $14,000 worth of stuff. I was saying to her, it would probably be wiser for me to give you back your money, then you can get another event planner to do the
but she doesn't want
services.
that alternative.
Right.
Right. In any event, you know that part of the stuff is not just the shimmer wall or whatever, you know, your stock and trade stuff. It's also the photographer and everything else. So why don't you just give her that information?
Okay, so when she sent that message to me, after she sent the message to me, she got in contact with the young lady, Tiffany, who referred.
When did you call Tiffany? Sunday she writes to you. When do you call Tiffany?
Tuesday.
Okay, on Monday she texts you and says, I hope you're doing better. I have a few questions regarding the contract with the photographer, DJ, and desserts. So she couldn't be more clear that that's the stuff she wanted to know about.
No.
Hopefully you can answer these questions and determine the refund amount. Okay, she texts you that on Monday, September 26th. On Tuesday, good morning. I hope you're feeling better. As you know, I'm running out of time here before I'm kindly requesting my money back. You never responded about the DJ, photographer, or desserts. You leave me no choice but to make assumptions. Also, you are supposed to contact my daughter sometime today. However, the contract is between you and me. What is that about, contacting your daughter? Whose idea was that?
Well, what happened was, I felt like she ghosted me. She closed us off of social media, which I'm not on it anyway. That's nothing that I really spend time on. So Tuesday, I felt like she had ghosted me. So
Did you block her out from your social media?
No. So I didn't want to say.
Can you just answer that? Yeah.
Yes, after I had already talked to her daughter.
Okay, so you didn't block her from social media Sunday or Monday?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so go on, and what are you saying? Go on.
So my daughter got involved. So my daughter called Tiffany to try to reach Kari because we had not heard from her. It was Tuesday, well, I think it was Tuesday evening. So my daughter, being my daughter, she said some things like she had spoken with someone to say, well, I can do a police report. I have 3 attorneys in my family, my son, my nephew, and my cousin.
Suffice it to say, your daughter was not diplomatic.
She was not very diplomatic, and by the time, you know how you whisper in someone's ear, by the time it goes to someone else, it's translated a little differently.
Right.
That's what happened. I was blamed for everything.
Right.
I was blamed for I had not spoken to Tiffany past giving the phone to my daughter. It was during hurricane, it was during Ian.
Well, okay, so now let's talk about that, because Ian hits on what day? Wednesday.
Ian hit on the 28th.
Which is Wednesday, right?
Ian hit on the
Yes,
28th
Wednesday.
of
I'm telling you,
September.
I'm not asking you. I'm from Florida.
The 28th.
Hurricane Ian hit on the 28th.
28th.
On Tuesday is the day that your daughter speaks to Tiffany?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now you're sitting in the room, so you hear everything your daughter's saying.
No, well, I'm sitting in the room at that time. That is correct. But I was in and out because my daughter can go on and on and on. And I was aware of Ian because I work for homeowners insurance company. But what I did was I had prayed and I had asked the Lord for a beautiful day for my party. So I looked long range. I don't have tunnel vision. I looked long range as to the day. So I looked at the day. I spoke with the event coordinator, not the event coordinator.
The venue.
The venue coordinator. And we talked about it. And
They didn't cancel.
No, she did not cancel.
Okay. So eventually, let me ask you something. When your daughter talks to Tiffany, you felt it got nasty.
No, ma'am. This is what happened.
Welcome back to the People's Court. I'm Harvey Levin. The plaintiff had to find a replacement for her 70th birthday bash because the defendant was a no-show and she wants her money back. But the defendant says the plaintiff's daughter became aggressive toward her and berated her, and she doesn't tolerate that kind of behavior. Let's go back into the courtroom.
The day that I contacted, and I hope she tells the truth, the day that I contacted her to let her know about what was going on with
Which was
me,
on Sunday.
which was on that Sunday, before she sent me that message, she called Tiffany first.
Who did?
Miss K.
On Sunday?
On Sunday, she called Miss K. Miss K calls me and says, I just got off the phone. Tiffany calls me and says, I just got off the phone with Miss K. What's going on? I let her know, hey, I'm not feeling well, I'm sick or whatever, and I believe I'm not going to be able to do her event. Her daughter in turns calls her. They talked before.
Who's that? Her daughter calls who?
Tiffany, the young lady that referred me.
Right.
Before she ever sent me that message, I got a phone call from Tiffany. They had already talked to Tiffany. She didn't talk to Tiffany on a different day, the same day. Tiffany
Okay, so
says
Tiffany calls you, according to your testimony, Tiffany
Yes.
calls you on the Sunday.
on that Sunday.
And says what?
And says that Miss K is extremely upset. She's saying that you're canceling her party because you're sick, and so on and so forth. I'm saying I may have to cancel because I'm not feeling my best. But I told her 2 days later, the messages say, you haven't gotten in contact with my daughter as yet. There was a miscommunication between her and her daughter. Me and her daughter already talked. Her daughter told me that she was going to give me up to 48 hours to see how I was feeling. If you look at the messages, I text her and said, I'm going to do your party. I agreed to do the party.
And then what happened?
When I agreed to do the party, her daughter said, you made my mother upset. Me and you are going to have a sit down. Me and you are going to have to talk. And I said, well, why do me and you have to talk when I didn't have a contract with you? I had a contract with your mom. But when her mother allowed me and Miss K, other than that message, there was no more communication between me and her. It was her daughter the entire way through.
Okay, so what happens is you say eventually, when do you say, I'm feeling better and I'm going to go forward?
On that Tuesday, I told her, listen, I don't want your event, and I know she can tell you the truth. She's saying...
I just want you to tell me, what day do you tell
on Tuesday.
All right, you say, I am better and I will be able to do this part.
I said, my breathing is better. It's not as bad as it was. I have asthma, so I have anxiety.
And I presume that between the Sunday, when did you get diagnosed with COVID?
I got diagnosed with COVID on that Sunday, but I had already been feeling bad days prior.
All right,
But
so the number of days that the new number of days, according to the CDC, then would have expired by the next Saturday. So you supposedly wouldn't be contagious on the next Saturday.
Right. So that was my goal, to still do her party.
Right. Except that then we get into a contest of quienes más macho between you and the daughter, because the daughter says, before we go forward, you and I are going to have to sit down face to face and discuss
on the day of the event. We only have so much amount of time to decorate a 4,000.
I don't think she said that the day of the event.
Yes, ma'am. She said that on the day. I said, so you're saying that I can't
Let's
come.
talk. I have the text between you and the daughter. Hold on
and
one
you
second.
can see my response.
On Tuesday, hello, I waited for your call starting at 6:30. I tried to call at 7:08 and again at 8:10. No response, and I can't leave a message, Carrie, so I'm texting. Can you please call me so we can get this all settled out? If you're not up to speaking with me now because you're sick, please let me know so that we can set up a time.
So that means me and the daughter talked.
Good morning. I'm just reaching out again. So you and the daughter didn't talk Tuesday. Please call me when you can. Wednesday at 3:30. Thank you for the chat. So you clearly talk on Wednesday. And you say we will do our best to decorate the event as long as weather permits.
Correct.
Okay. You ended up not doing the event. Why did you end up not doing the event?
Okay, so when we received notification, when it finally hit Jacksonville, it was not the 28th. We were getting high rains, we were getting wind.
When did it hit Jacksonville?
I think it hit us maybe the 29th. Her event was that Saturday, so that Thursday and Friday, it was really bad.
The Wednesday is the 28th, the Thursday is the 29th. As we all know, hurricanes are really bad and then they're not. Right after they're done. They don't take 4 days. Now, if the power's down, if the venue has to close because of storm surges or whatever else, did the venue close?
No, ma'am.
Was there power on Saturday?
Yes.
I held my mother's 97th birthday on October 1st. Okay, in Miami. Now, I realized that, we were safer in Miami. We had storm surges and lots of rain and stuff like that. But by 3 days after a hurricane hits, it's all settled. So I'm trying to understand whether, truthfully, on the Wednesday, when it's hitting, we all know it's hitting southwestern Florida, not northwestern Florida. We know that on Wednesday because it hits on Wednesday at 3:05 and your text is at 3:30. So we know that on Wednesday. Are you really saying to the daughter, weather permitting, I'll be there? Or are you really saying to the daughter, I don't really want to do your venue because you trashed my son to Tiffany, and I'm kind of upset because she did trash your son. We're not going to go into it, but she trashed your son to Tiffany. She was disrespectful. You felt like the daughter was, threatening lawsuits and everything. She was not pleasant to deal with.
No, she wasn't pleasant to deal with.
And then she's saying, oh, and by the way, you and I are going to have a sit down before we go forward, which your feeling was, I don't have to talk to you. You're not my client.
Correct.
Right.
But me doing
I wish your text to her would have been, I am willing to do your party. I am not having a sit down with you. You are not my... No, I'm going to tell you what your text was instead. This is what your text was, and this is... You know, this is a business lesson for you that I want you to really take to heart. What you say, before you come to the event, Carrie, a chat needs to take place, ma'am. That's not, you know, on the day of the event. It doesn't matter whether it's on the day of the event or today. She wants to have a chat, and I understand you don't want to because she's not your client. But there are certain consequences to that. I'm not having a conversation about anything. We don't need to talk to do that. I am fully aware of my responsibilities for this event. Your mother is my client, not you. You're totally right. Stop talking to her. I am coming to decorate. So either we agree to allow me to decorate in peace with my crew, or this will be a cancellation on your part. This is 100% golden so far. Your choice. I do not do drama and disrespect. And clearly the communication and threats on your behalf have definitely offended me. I can tell you now that the outcome will not be good for you and me. I could easily cancel within right and postpone to another date, but I'm trying to make this event work, so you make the choice. And then she asked, so based on what you just said, you're canceling with us? I want to be clear. And this is where your answer should have been, no, I'm not canceling with you. I'll be there. I'm just not doing drama and sitting with you.
Okay.
You're not my client. But that's not your answer. Here is
Okay.
your answer. Due to the impending weather conditions and Hurricane Ian and the storm being labeled a Category 2, 3, 4, 5 possibly, and the notification sent to me for evacuation from my area, and due to the fact that I tested positive for COVID, I am unable to do your event. So you're the one canceling on them. We are taking cover and protecting ourselves at all costs. The situation is out of our control, but we'll gladly reschedule on a later date. It is in the best interest of everyone that we move this way, meaning move the date.
Correct.
She says, Carrie, with all due respect, it's not your call to cancel, and she's fine. She's right about that. It's their party. You can't cancel their party. You can cancel your participation, and then I decide whether you need to refund anything or whether this is within the purview of the contract. Mm-hmm. Do you even have a written contract with each other?
Yes, I gave her, she has an invoice.
Okay.
And that on that invoice, it states that if there's anything that happens, that it can be rescheduled. The only thing I asked her, once they started talking about the storm.
It's not if it's anything that happens.
No, I'm saying
You don't have
anything
license to breach your contract. It is definitely my call because I am the one doing the service. It is my business and the safety of our team. My final offer is a postponed event under healthier circumstances and a new date. So you are the one who threw the gauntlet down and said, I'm not doing your party. My final offer is a postponed date under healthier circumstances and a new date that she and I agree upon. If you do not agree, I apologize, but this is my offer. According to you, when does this happen? It looks to me like this discussion's taking place on Wednesday.
Right, which means
so all of this where you say, I'm not going to decorate, I'm not going through with this, between COVID and the hurricane that already hit and the weather, I'm canceling.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. The storm had not even touched us yet. We hadn't, on Wednesday, we hadn't even
so it hit
received-
landfall in Florida on Wednesday at 3-something. When did it hit Jacksonville, according to you?
When it hit Jacksonville, it was late, like Thursday night.
All
yes,
right.
ma'am.
So it hits Jacksonville, and in the end, how did Hurricane Ian hit Jacksonville? It wasn't a Category 2, 3. It was just a tropical storm.
It was.
By the time, in fact, the headline in your paper was, "We've been spared." Okay,
Correct.
so the party can go forward, and the party did go forward. The venue didn't cancel it. What happened with the DJ?
Had to hire another DJ.
Because the DJ said what?
The DJ, when my daughter contacted the DJ because she found him on social media, and
I thought he had done a party for your daughter.
that's what I was getting ready to say. We didn't have his information; we just had his name. So she was able to find him on social media. So when she contacted him, he told my daughter that he had severed ties with Kari because of some event, some masquerade party that something went left with he and the husband. So he told me he had severed ties with her, and he was not able to do our
Okay, so
party.
you paid for the DJ didn't come. You paid for the cake. What did the cake lady tell you?
I contacted the cake lady. She had sent me a flyer showing what I could order. So the lady didn't have a number. I emailed her. So her response was, well, because of the weather, I'm not sure if I'll be able to get what you need. And so I said, oh, I had been dealing with Kari Wood. She said, oh, yes, I remember her. I spoke with her on the 12th of July.
And then she placed the order. I've read the correspondence between her and the cake lady. She placed the order, but she never paid. All right. So
and then she can't. And then she said,
so no cake. What else?
Thursday, she said the card canceled the party. She told her the party had been canceled. That's
On Thursday, she contacted the cake lady and said, party canceled.
Party canceled.
But your party wasn't canceled.
My party was
the
not
cake lady
canceled.
able to give you a cake?
No, ma'am.
You went somewhere else for the cake?
My daughter did.
What about the photographer?
My sister had we have photographer and the DJ.
You hired your own photographer and DJ?
Yes, ma'am.
And you got your own cake. How was the weather in Jacksonville on October 1st?
It was the best day.
Nothing like
ever.
post-hurricane weather.
It was the best day ever.
It rained that morning.
It rained that morning. When was
Yes,
her
sir.
party?
Her party was at, I believe, at 1, if I'm not mistaken.
When was your party?
party?
Okay, everybody calm down.
Oh my God.
Okay, where was the party?
My party was at 7:30.
And the weather was great by 7:30.
I was standing out taking pictures outside before I came in.
When did the rain stop on your party day?
That day, I don't even
So
remember.
what value, how much money did you pay her? You were able to pull back on Cash App 500 and something. So your lawsuit, interestingly, is for the $2,000 that's on her side, which you feel you got zero for, so you want the full $2,000 back. But wait, there's more. You're not suing for $2,000. You're suing for $4,450 because you end up paying $1,800 to a second event planner and $350 to a second photographer and $300 to a DJ, and you want a free party.
It seems the plaintiff is trying to pull one over on the judge because she's trying to get a free party. The defendant got COVID before her big day. That's why the defendant was a no-show. Let's go back into the courtroom.
Court is not about ching-ching, let the cash register ring. Court is about making you whole. Now,
Can I say something?
you have a $250 counterclaim for defamation of character. Tell me about that.
Okay.
Is it the phone calls to Tiffany?
No, it's not. Yes, that was the phone calls to Tiffany, but she got in contact with the DJ. When she got it, we paid the DJ. She just said that the DJ said because of the weather, we were not doing the event because I had canceled. I had told her I couldn't do it. She just said that she talked to the DJ. She got in contact with him.
Here's where the problem
and
lies.
We paid him.
I know. But here's where the problem lies. You have put yourself in the middle, and you got to get yourself out. I don't advise this as a business practice. For you to be the one contacted, what you do is you get paid for your services of hooking them up, and then you say, here's a photographer, there's his contract, sign it. Here's the DJ, there's his contract, sign it. Here's the cake, there's her contract, sign it. And then you charge what you want for coordination. And then that way, when those people breach, it's not on you.
Right.
But you have subcontracted, and you put yourself in the middle.
Right.
It's a bad way to do it. Don't do it. I think your intentions are very pure. I think you're a really nice person. I'm sure you do a tremendous party, or really finicky party throwers like them wouldn't constantly be hiring you. All that's great, but none of that matters. Right. And I know that the hurricane was scaring everybody. And I know that when a hurricane's coming, especially if you're sick with COVID, it's very difficult. But it's very obvious from the text that the reason you end up canceling has nothing to do with COVID. It has to do with the sassiness of the daughter, and the daughter just putting you in the position where you've had it. You're not going to sit down. You don't do drama. And then when she says, so let me get it straight, are you canceling? Because the daughter's smart. She's got a son who's a lawyer. So somebody probably told her exactly what words to use. Instead of you saying, oh, no, I'm not nay, I am not canceling. I am not canceling. I'm happy to be there. I'm just not sitting down with you to do drama. Right. You are not my client, and this is my last communication with you. That's how you should have handled it, right? Because if you would have handled it that way, who's canceling? The daughter, right? And then you're golden, but that's not how you handle it. What really happened was the daughter was sassing you just a little too much, and you had it. Because you're sick and you don't want to be talked to that way. She had trashed your son to Tiffany. She was, you just didn't want to. So there's a way to handle it. Don't talk to the daughter anymore. You talk to her, you text with her. If the daughter won't put the mother on the phone, no more phone calls. Now it's all through writing. And you write to her and you say to her, I am willing to be at your party, but I am not going to sit down and have a conversation with your daughter. You tell me. But that's not what you did. What you did was, due to the weather, I'm canceling. Due to the weather and COVID. When you had already said that you were fine and COVID wasn't going to be a reason to cancel, and the weather had already hit and October 1st was fine. The venue didn't close. The power wasn't out. No. The thing took place.
It did.
So I can't let you cancel for the weather.
Right.
I think that and I don't think you really did cancel for the weather. So why would I make her pay for all your new people and make her pay for all your old people?
Welcome back to the People's Court. The plaintiff says that she is not going to be taken advantage of by this defendant, who bailed just before her 70th birthday was about to go down. The plaintiff had to scramble, and the plaintiff wants her money back. But the defendant says the plaintiff hired someone else for her party, and she She now wants her to pay for it? No way. Let's go back into the courtroom, find out who's going to win and who's going to lose.
You know that this could have gone through. It just didn't go through because of the daughter being so... It's great to have a daughter who has your back like that. It's wonderful. But it also, you know, you're large and in charge, and at some point, it was time for you to take it back and kind of, you know what I'm saying? Because we wouldn't have gotten this far. But no, she's not going to be out that money. And I'm going to order you to pay her back just like you thought you would on the Sunday, the $2,000 that she is out. That's literally almost to the penny the money she used to salvage everything and have her party, which you did have, right?
Yes,
How'd it go?
It was wonderful.
Okay, all right. And on your counterclaim against her, again, I never, other than Tiffany, what else? What is the reason for the counterclaim?
No, the amount was $22.31. She received $552 of that money.
I thought the amount was $25.52.45.
No, ma'am. The total
okay,
was,
hold on one second, and let's get down to that.
And I have the invoice as well.
And why are you staring at her like that?
Because
hold on.
Because I have my cash apps where I paid her. All of that, $400 of the money was already in my cash app account.
How much do you say she paid?
Okay, so she paid me, and I have the invoice, and hold on one second.
I want to know what she paid, not the invoice.
$231.45.
Is that the total that she paid?
That is the total she paid me.
Okay, $2,231.45. Now stop. Do you say you paid her more than that?
I do.
Hold on, now prove it.
$552.45.
On what date?
I have to look in my phone.
Well, then look in your phone. Oh, I have your phone. Here you go. Take a look at all your cash apps and tell me what it totals to, and then show it to me.
Yes, ma'am.
This is easy. This is just math. You know, we'll figure this out.
Can I say something?
What
while
you're
she's looking
saying
for
is that the 552.45 needs to be subtracted from the 2231.45.
Correct. And the payment
and that leaves 1,679. You're saying.
Right. And the payment that she's in reference to, that she's trying to ease into this case.
Okay.
Her daughter had a party for her granddaughter.
Is that what's happening?
She paid money to me to assist her daughter.
Okay.
That was not for her party.
Okay. All right. Well, you're going to have to prove it then, Ms. Kay.
Yes, ma'am.
And in my evidence, I sent that invoice.
The invoice for the daughter?
To her for her party. It's in there. The invoice that she paid. Every time she made a payment, the total amount she paid, which will match her cash out payments to me.
So let's look at the invoice. On September 2nd, due on receipt, the invoice is for a total of $22.31.45.
Yes, ma'am.
She had paid on 9/2/1600 plus 631.45, which is the total.
Correct.
And then from that, she was able to get back
$552.45.
And that leaves 1,679, not 2,000. All right, so just prove it to me. Prove to me that there was some other invoice and some other payment to her that wasn't for your grandkids' party.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the cash app there? Okay.
Not a screenshot of it, the cash app. Okay, great. Now, give me I don't know how to use cash app. That's really the problem. You have paid her a total of $2,000, and you were able to get refunded $552.45. So what you're out is the difference between those figures.
It should be $2,000.
Do you understand that you got refunded $552.45?
And I paid all of that to her.
We're not gonna go back and forth anymore. So you're gonna have to show me how the math is different than what she's saying. I see now that all you ever paid her was $2,000, and you got back from her $552.45. Okay? So you're gonna show me how that's wrong. You're shaking your head, but you're gonna need to prove how that's wrong, because that's exactly what your cash app says. All right, we're done, guys. And what we're gonna do, first of all, on your defamation of character, what is that based on?
Just the things that she said to the
Tiffany.
other vendor.
All right, I'm not going to call that defamation of character. 0 on your counterclaim. On her claim against you, I am obviously not going to make you pay for her 70th birthday party. So all she is entitled to, and let me be very specific about this, is whatever money she paid you, because she got nothing for it. My calculations is that she paid you $2,000. She was able to get back from your account $552.45, and therefore what is left is $1,447.55. But you feel free to go over all this math later. And if you're able to show to me that there's something wrong in what I'm saying, I want it to be clear that my intent is that you get back every penny that you're out. Not more than that, which we know you want because that's how your lawsuit's filed, but only that. And so my calculations are you paid her $2,000, you got back from that $552.45, and so what is left is $1,447.55, verdict for the plaintiff. And I am also giving you, Ms. Kay, I'll give you 48 hours to show me otherwise, because I know I put you on the spot with the technology, even though you're better at it than I am. Good luck, folks. That's my verdict.
Hold on right there, please.
So the plaintiff prevails, but she does not get the massive $4,400 she originally wanted. She only gets $1,447. Let's see what the defendant has to say about this. She was very emotional during the case. Ms. Woods, how are you feeling now?
I'm happy that she was able to get the amount back that is due to her for the remaining balance. And I'm very apologetic that we weren't able to do her event for her.
You know what? You got a lot of good legal advice from the judge today. Do you realize that?
Yes, sir.
I hope you've learned something from what she told you, because it could have saved you a lot of heartache. Because I think you were in tears in the middle of this case. I know it really bothered you, didn't it?
It can be a little frustrating, but it's a learning process. So we want to be a good business, so we'll take whatever we can from this event.
All right. Well, good luck to you, okay?
Yes.
Hope it doesn't
Thank
happen
you.
like this in the future.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so that's the defendant, Ms. Woods. Let's talk to the plaintiff, Kay. She wanted $4,400. She wanted to have a free party. Didn't work out that way for you, Kay. How about that?
It is what it is. I'm good. But I do have a problem with the figures, and the judge did give me 48 hours to come up with the figures that I feel were fair. But all in all, I'm just glad it's over. It's been a long road.
But the bottom line, the party was great.
It was great.
Right?
It was great.
So you've got great memories.
Great
Right?
memories. Yes.
Okay, good for you. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, good enough. So, very complex issues here, but what do you think, Harvey? What's your reaction?
We have been doing the People's Court. Just look at me for a second. I'm not 25. For more than half my life. We have literally had hundreds of cases where somebody says, I'm not going to return somebody's money. I am not going to perform under the contract. I'm going to quit and walk away because the other person was rude to me. The other person swore at me, and on and on and on. The bottom line here is rude behavior does not give you a right to alter or cancel a contract.
On a plane, what's your go-to thing? Movies, music, reading, sleep?
Well, definitely not sleep and not music.
You can't sleep on a plane.
I can't sleep in a bed. I have lots of sleep problems.
I can sleep sitting up
Right,
in the right situation.
and so can all my kids. The first thing they do is fall asleep on an airplane like they're babies in a bassinet.
But you're a movies person on planes.
I'm a movies person.
Long flight.
I read a lot on planes, but I've found that lately I'm just constantly getting online immediately. The second I sit down, I'm online. So I can work, so I can get stuff.
That's funny because I see that. That was going to be my thought on that was, yes, you will, if you have a long flight, you watch a movie or something, but you also get online and you'll work. My go-to is to sit down and read for a while, and when I finish reading, I get tired of it, I goof off and look over and watch.
Here's you on a plane. What? Every time I ask you a question, you take the thing out of your head.
I look annoyed?
What?
I give you that
Annoyed that I'm
look?
talking to you.
Ah, okay.
I've tried to get to, when we haven't had seats next to each other, I'll try to speak to the person next to you to see if we can switch, and you're like, no.
Right, yeah.
No.
I'll give you $20, don't switch with my wife.
Don't switch with my wife.
But you spent, how many hours of your life have been spent on planes? You're over 4 million miles on American Airlines or something, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big chunk of time.
Yeah, it is a big chunk of time.
Months, maybe years.
Oh, don't
God
say it like that.
forbid.
That's awful.